Hello everyone, how are things going? In this video I'm making a sci-fi or more like arcade game-ish fighter jet. Let's go. So I made an assortment of random bits and pieces from my box for the overall building of the plane. I'll use this body wash bottle to build the plane around it. These candy dispenser boxes are really good for various sections. Cardboard boxes to use as panels. These plastic things that we find in pizza boxes. I don't know what they're called. There's no way for gluing these pieces together unless they are sanded. So I sanded most of the pieces thoroughly with a 240 grit sanding paper. Removing the cap of the bottle as I wanted this to have an uneven nose surface. This detergent measuring cup fit almost perfectly for the rear side. It also saves me from the trouble of filling the dent on the bottle. I cut off an antiperspirant roll-on ball to add on the nose. And use this CA glue tip to add over it. My longtime viewers would be used to seeing me utilize these plastic bottle ring things. They add mechanic-like texture to wherever they are added on the build. There was this big gap that annoyed me on the nose, so I filled it with an antenna-like device from CA glue. For the cockpit area, I used a shampoo bottle cap. I basically trimmed it in 5 pieces and glued it on the plane. With the help of IKEA bamboo tubes, juice cap plastic pieces, CA glue caps, and so on, I made a pair of jet engines to go on the fuselage, right under the cockpit. I used the candy dispensers as a tail engine or booster. I used printer cartridge caps to keep these dispensers on the body evenly and completed the assembly with more CA glue caps. Before I forget, I was supposed to build the duel in front of medieval tavern Diorama as it won the vote about a week ago. But it had been a hectic week and I didn't want to rush that diorama build and also didn't want to skip a week without an upload, so that's why I made this. The reason I didn't complete this build with a base or figures etc. is that I wanted to ask your opinion if you want to see me complete this. If so, hit me up with your ideas and suggestions in the comment section. At this point I decided that the huge gap in the engine jet assembly bothered me, so I made a panel out of cardboard and closed those areas. And while at cutting cardboard, I decided to finally tackle the wings. Originally I planned to position the wings the usual way. Then I played around and decided that wings swept backwards looked more sci-fi-ish. I scored certain angles to give the wings a more dynamic view, so to say. Also applied CA glue on the scored lines to make sure the wings don't wiggle. At this point, wings were way too thin compared to the rest of the body. I was either going to add more cardboard cutouts and give them a boxy shape, but decided to buff them up with cardstock material and use the cutouts to create some panels covering the entire wing. While at it, I made sure each wing has flaps, even though they're in a fixed position. I think different angled parts give a more dynamic look to the plane. Later, I applied the same method to the rest of the fuselage. I might have not done this and kept the body wash bottle as it is, But thinking how the paint job would be boring without any details, crevices, and so on, I glued all these panels. Considering how fast I tackled the building something that looks like a plane, this took about an entire evening. I'll be honest with you, at this point I kept on dragging my feet, so to say, from tackling the landing gear or landing skids. I didn't want to complete the paneling just yet, since I didn't exactly know what kind of landing gear option I'd want or where exactly it would be under the belly of the plane. So I kept on adding details here and there, worked on the cockpit glass, added frame details from the cardboard stripes. I had these thumb drive packages in my pieces box. I decided to use them on the wings. Again, keep in mind to sand those clear plastic pieces very well. They really don't hold any paint, and even if they do, they chip off very easily. I used more CA glue caps to create some sort of a air intake or something over these pieces. The rear looked too empty and the surface was flat enough for me to build some sort of a bolt turret. I took the inspiration from World War II US Air Force bomber plane. For this, I used the other half of the roll-on ball, some skewers and cardboard stripes. I completed it with another soda bottle ring plastic piece to make it a bit look more like the weapon moves around. Once I was sure I'm done with the actual build, I tackled another time-consuming yet very important detail work, the rivets. I used tiny jewelry beads to cover almost all the sides and corners of each panel I installed on the plane. I wanted it to look like sci-fi-ish, yet maintaining old-timey elements like this. This also took an entire evening and a half bottle of CA glue and enough glue fume inhaled. Once all the glue on the plane dried, I started on priming it with Vallejo Gray Surface Primer. This took about 2 hours for the primer to dry. Then I started mixing a paint for the main color of the plane. I had leftover Revell olive green and fern green. I mixed these. Added some Revell stone gray and added a drop of Vallejo black. Painted the green color in 3 coats in total. The thing I don't like about Revell paints is that even though these were marketed as matte, they end up being somewhat glossy once fully dried. I had these paints laying around for a while and used them instead of my main Vallejo paints. Before I started on painting different parts of the plane, I dry brushed with Vallejo light gray. There were a couple of sections where I had too hard brush strokes and fixed them up off the camera. I painted the cockpit glass, bolt turret on the rear, the jet engine and rear booster exhaust, and weaponry on the wingtips with Vallejo anthracite gray. I realized there were tiny upwards arrows on these printer cartridge caps and painted them in yellow. Once all the details are painted, I mix the darker tone of the base color and drip this over on each rivet detail. Apply the black wash wherever I see a gap or crevice. Decided to keep the chipping effect few, I started applying black patches on certain areas like wing edges and tips, tail boosters, etc. Then applied light gray over those patches and finally Vallejo natural steel color to complete the chipping. At this point, this still looked too clean, so I made a diluted paint mixture with black and black red. Applied this all over the plane, making sure that it looks grimy, dirty, and used up. Thank you for watching this episode. I'm sorry about my voice sounding tired because I am. I caught cold or something like that today. If you have any diorama ideas for this plane, let me know down in the comments. I'll see you all in the next one.